And Knicks get smoked, 129-114. No defense, no rings. As somebody said in the chat, no defense, no rings, man. It's as simple as that. I mean, we could talk about how early it is. The bottom line is, man, this Knicks defense is just not ready for the big show, man. And you can only be so good offensively every night. Some nights you're going to have to thug it out and get into a dogfight, and this Knicks team is not capable of doing that, man. They're soft. They're porous on the perimeter, porous in the paint. And Dallas just took it to him tonight, man. Pretty simple and plain, bro. 129-114. They gave a 129 to this Dallas team. Good team. A good Dallas team. We're going to talk about that. But without Luka, they gave a 129, man.
You sound concerned.
I'm concerned about I've been concerned about the defense, bro. I've been concerned about the defense.
Is it time to be concerned about the team?
We got to wait and see, man. It's not to say that Precious and Mitch are saviors by any stretch, but they've got to figure out a way to get some stops, man. It's just not the same team. It's not the same team.
They're now, what was that, 10-8?
Yeah.
10-8 right now. So that's 18 games. We're closing in on, 20. And, there's still questions about what's the true identity of this team. I mean, I guess it's looking like it's an offensive identity.
Yeah.
It's looking like it's a finesse style identity. But is it going to be a winning identity? Because if this is where their identity is trending, I don't like the way this team does not respond when they get punched in the mouth, right? You look at early on this season, every time that a team puts pressure on them, they fold. Every time that they get punched in the mouth, they fold. And I am not liking the way the lack of response, the lack of physicality, the lack of intensity, again, when they face adverse situations. And to me, those are components that are going to be and characteristics that are important for a championship caliber team. Now, you want to tell me that the expectations are lower and we're talking about a playoff team, then these type of things are not the end of the world. They're not a big deal, right? You want to talk about that the expectations are second round exit or second round team, then these things are not a big deal. They're not the end of the world. However, it is my understanding that the expectations here are at the bare minimum. At the bare minimum, you want to see the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. And if that's the case, and the ultimate goal is to beat the Boston Celtics, then the way I'm looking at this team is I'm looking in the areas that we need to be able to beat a team like that. And right now, we don't have that. It's like you said, it's like there's certain things that are concerning, but at the same time, you still want to just wait a little bit. You still want to see what this team is going to look like, fully healthy. You see around the NBA, you still see some other teams struggling, and it's still early, but it's like at some point, it's the same thing they're saying in Philly, and the Philly lost again tonight.
Right, Philly lost again. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're gonna continue to be on the patient side, but at some point we're gonna have to see some of the things this team is gonna need in order to be a championship contending team.
Yeah, no question about it, man. And I just wanted to do my research and tapping in with the Mavs all week, man. I just saw a tough game for this Knicks team because I think some people might have looked at it like, damn, no Luka, we should be all right. But if you look at how these Mavs team has played, they play tough, man. They're still deep. They still have all their defenders. The only good defender they were missing tonight was Gafford. You could almost make a case that they're even better defensively when they don't have Luka and Klay Thompson out there. So defensively, they're stout, man. Between Marshall, they have PJ. They've got all these guys out there. Grimes. You know what I'm saying? They have a lot of guys. And then on the other side, how about Lively? I didn't even mention Lively. When Lively's out there on the court, it's almost like it's 5 of them out there. Because at one point on the switch, he'll be out there on the perimeter, and then next thing you know, he's contesting something at the rim. I mean, he's that good. He covers a lot of ground very quickly. They are a tough, stout, defensive team. And by the way, Knicks went into Denver and beat Denver in Denver. So did this Mavericks team without Luka Doncic. And boy, by the way, had him on the ropes by 24 points at one point in that game a couple weeks ago. It's a tough team, bro.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, they went into Denver and beat Denver. Before tonight, they won 5 of their last 6 games, and they beat the Spurs. They went before they beat Denver. They went to OKC. And they beat OKC 121 to 119. So during this run, they've had some very quality wins, and their only loss in this run was in Miami on the road, and that game had to go to overtime for them to lose.
Right.
And I don't even think they had Luka in that game. So
they didn't.
The team without Luka has sort of like the Knicks of the past type of identity. Tough, grit. Lively, as you mentioned, is a 7'1". He looks like a spry young Tyson Chandler out there.
Yeah. Yep.
Like a slim Tyson Chandler. Had a block tonight, had almost double-digit rebounds. And, Kyrie himself has improved his defense as well. And so it's tough. I understand we were on the road tonight. Kyrie also seems to have major success against the Knicks, especially as a Dallas Maverick. Last time we were there, nobody on the Knicks could stop him. Tonight, he took a lot of volume shots, but he made key shots. He made a lot of timely buckets. And listen, it is a frustrating loss because there's some things on this team that continues to be a concern, and they're more on the defensive side for me. And as I mentioned in the past, offense you can be patient with because offense usually it's rhythm.
Yeah.
So at some point, sometimes it depends on fit, it depends on chemistry, it depends on system and strategy. Sometimes all those formulas take time to gel. The defense, certain areas defensively here where a lot of us are waiting for Precious and Mitch. But I don't think people realize, CP, Precious is not going to come back and play 35 minutes.
Right.
Like, people are talking as if Precious is going to come back and he's going to be a starter, or Precious is going to come back and be a 40 minutes. Like, Precious is going to come back and play 18 minutes. Maybe he'll hit, like, in the 20 mark, right? Like, and listen, maybe that's enough, because I talked about how on the other side of the argument, that could be enough to create separation and get enough stops, because I don't know with the personnel that's on this team that this team, even fully healthy, is going to be the defensive identity team that they were in the past. Mm-hmm. I think at this point, they're just trying to – you just try to see if you could be middle of the pack. If this team could develop to be a top 15 to 18 range, I think if you can get there, the things will turn around and you'll become more of a consistent team.
Listen, I've been saying it all year, and I'll continue to say it. You're gonna be nowhere near Boston until you can defend, because as much as everybody wants to talk about the threes that Boston shoots, you got to pay attention to the other side. Harp said it himself. Harper came on and said it himself. A lot of people don't look at the way the Celtics play defense and shut you down. That is why. Then when they're hitting the threes after they knock out your possessions, and then they're coming down and firing away, that's why before you know it, you're down by 20. Quick, fast, in a blink of an eye, that team will have you on the ropes. So that's for the Knicks, man. It's like, bro, can you even get to average right now? defensively. And look at the trend. And this is another reason why I was a little bit, nervous about this matchup. It's these young athletic teams, man. The Cleveland loss could have went either way. They should have won that game. The Rockets game. I'm talking about these games. The Rockets, the Hawks, the Pacers. Bulls game could have went either way. The Jazz, and now the Mavericks. They have issues with those type of teams, man. Those teams that push the pace. Young, scrappy, athletic, and can match up well with the Knicks. That was one thing. This Mavericks team, could they match up probably even better with the Knicks tonight without Luka Doncic. It's tough, man.
And I mentioned how I do believe in the NBA. There's certain nights where even coaching staffs and scouting reports are a little bit behind, or they're a little bit like I think teams wing it here and there in terms of their preparations, and they just go out there and play basketball. Again, I've talked about the Knicks being a big market team and the personnel they have. They have known players now. They're on national TV. They were on national TV tonight. This seems like the Knicks are still not they're not prepared yet for the understanding of you have a target on you. Like, you have a target on you now. Like, teams are going to be excited to play you because they know people are watching how this team is going to gel, how this team is going to play. The whole New York Knicks brand is a little bit higher now because of the consistency over the past, 4 to 5 years. You've been a consistent playoff team, and now this year people expect you to take the next level. You're going to get everybody's best shot, and I do think, as I see the way opponents are playing the Knicks, it seems like they're going into the games prepared with a plan of attack. They're going to attack the Knicks on the pick and roll. And surprisingly, but it's on a scouting report, Mikal Bridges is just not responding to screen action.
Bro.
He's dying on every single screen. And Chris Herring, a friend of ours here on KnicksFanTV, wrote an article about that, about how that's, the book is out on that in terms of the Knicks, as that being the main strategy when you face the Knicks until they respond. They're going to put Bridges on a bunch of screens. They're going to make him go around the screen. They're going to make him, get back as a trail man, and he is just not responding. And that is a concern because you talk about the Celtics. Mikal Bridges was brought here, CP, for that matchup.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't even, not that I don't care, but I'm not even concerned about his offense. If your defense is not there, I don't know how we beat the Celtics, even if Precious is elite, even if Mitch is elite, even if everyone else is elite. OG and Mikal are here for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
And if those two guys are not able to get to that level, then we don't have a shot against the Celtics.
You finish. And then now you're supposed to come in with 2 holes in your defense. Now you get 3. You know what I'm saying? These guys were supposed to help cover for Brunson and Towns. And now you're creating another liability with Bridges' defense. So, it is concerning, man.
And maybe, like I said, it's tough because it's just so difficult to understand from a defensive standpoint that he's struggling this much. And I'm just trying to reason. Is it because they're more focusing on his offense? You saw early on today, they came out with a game plan to try to get him going.
Yeah.
So is that the main focus? Because I do think that teams early on in the NBA season do prioritize certain areas on the floor or certain aspects of their team. They just give more priority to that, and they say, we'll get to this later. Like we'll turn the switch on this later. Is it that Bridges is just saying, listen, bro, I'm not paying 40 minutes a game, both sides of the ball in game 11, like it's, game 1 of the playoffs. Like I'm going to try to fit in offensively. He might have even been he might have been caught by surprise with OG now taking that third option. So you talk about him coming in probably mentally thinking, how am I going to fit in as the third option? It's going to be obvious that I'm the third option. And then boom, OG just went right by him, and he's the third option. So now he has to recalibrate and say, okay, now I got to fit in as the fourth. And is that a focus more now? And will his defense come around later? Other than that, CP, I don't know what else I can lean to. You can say injury, but he doesn't look hurt. But his defense, man, the
Woeful.
inconsistency. He's playing like one good defensive game a week, and that's just not good enough right now.
Not good enough right now, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. CP and JD on the ones and twos. Knicks lose a disappointing one, 129 to 114. And it was over after 2-0. I mean, Knicks came out, took a 2-0 lead. Next thing you know, a 16-2 Mavs run. And they're playing from downhill. They're playing from behind. So he had 6 Mavs in double figures. Oh, man, former Knick Quentin Grimes with the Dallas mustache and all, putting it on his former team. To add insult to injury, yeah, Grimes embarrassing him. Dinwiddie, the Knick killer. Kyrie, the Knick killer. It was death by 1,000 swords, man.
Yo, that's the biggest frustration of being a Knick fan is I think we could literally have Scottie Pippen, Kawhi Leonard, and Dennis Rodman and Ben Wallace here. And somehow, because it's the Knicks, we're going to make role players and former Knicks. And those caliber players are always going to have career nights against us. They're always going to play well against us. It's just the formula. It's tough, very man. Frustrating night to night basis. We give it's always teams breaking records against us. You know, oh, this team hasn't shot over 50% all season. Well, they play the Knicks. They shoot 52%. It's like
good to go.
It's so frustrating, man. It's actually, sadly hilarious.
Tough, man. 21 for Q Dot. You had who else on the Mavs? 19. PJ Washington, Najee Marshall. 5 straight games in double figures. He's about to keep Clay on the bench when he comes back. He's balling. He's playing well, and most of his joints he gets it popping inside. He's old school, man. He's not a good 3-point shooter, but he gets everything inside the arc. It's 24 for Najee Marshall. He had 12 lively. Kyrie, 23. And then 21 for Dinwiddie. 8 of 11. 3 of 5 from downtown for Dinwiddie. And then conversely for the Knick bench, didn't have much from Cam or Deuce. Only 5 shots between them, 11 points between them. On a night where he's searching, Brunson had it, but nobody else really did.
And this is going to be the team, I think, where Grimes kind of finds his footing in the NBA.
Yeah, I hope so.
Because, the Pistons with Detroit didn't work out. And that's an example of sometimes, although the Detroit Pistons of this year might have worked out with JB Bickerstaff doing a very good job with this Pistons team this year. But you go to a culture like that, and a lot of people think it's just all about opportunity and minutes, but you go to a losing culture, and sometimes you just can't figure it out. And I thought with the Mavericks coming off a finals appearance, having some veteran players, they have a nice roster, but also Jason Kidd being a former player, I thought was going to be very important for his confidence. We talked about Quentin Grimes as a Knick. Yeah. He had confidence issues. I think having a head coach like Jason Kidd, I think, is very good with role players because him being a former player and him being on both sides, being a starter, being a legend, and then even later his career coming off the bench. I think Jason Kidd knows the mentality and the ups and downs mentally that you go through in that type of role. So Grimes had a great game tonight, but the Knicks, man, slow start again, and again, when they've been down like this, it just you have to lean on your defense. And I understand that they're an offensive team. I get it.
That's the problem. That's the problem, bro.
And that's in the past when they've had these slow starts, when they had shooting slumps, they were able to rely on their defense just to keep the game within 13, 12, 11 points. With this team, it seems like they get down 10,
done.
You might blink and they're down 20 and it's
done.
Over.
You're done.
Because they just even, and you see a lot of times, even when they're scoring and they pick it back up a little bit, which they did at some spurts tonight, you know what happens? They're trading baskets.
They give it right back up.
They just can't get stops.
They can't get stops, bro. Very, very frustrating night on this Thanksgiving Eve. Salute to Knicks Nation, man. We are here, man. Knicks Therapy on the ones and twos, CP and JD. Call us up, 657-383-1509, or you can hit us up on the KFTV Discord. Somebody in the chat said Spencer Dinwiddie is still hitting threes right now. Dwayne Vogel feasting on the 3. Logic Bear, $10 super chat, franchise channel member says bum night, but hit that like and subscribe and join the franchise channel members for your boys, man. Salute to Logie Bear for that. He says, gotta be thankful that we have a place to come together and vent after a bad game. Happy Turkey Day. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. We definitely appreciate that. Appreciate the support and the vote of confidence to come through to the number one show for the fans by the fans. Win, lose, or draw, we are here accountable. And we're gonna talk about it, man. Let's hit the Discord. The Knicks Fix. Go ahead and unmute your mic. Knicks Fix.
What's up, CP? What's up, JD? What's going on, man? Happy Thanksgiving.
Bum night tonight, man.
Bum night, bro, man. Yeah. All right, man. Just a few things I'm gonna say, man. I think it has to be said, man. I'm just frustrated with Tibbs, bro. Like he coaches like a specific type of team, right? Which is like feed the post or attack the paint. You know, he can't coach 5 out. There's a reason why we won last year with Julius, you know, or with iHeart setting the picks for Brunson to get to the paint. Because once those guys attack the paint, you kick it out and hit the 3, right? But what I'm looking with now is like there's no creativity, man. It's like no creativity. Like I barely see pick and rolls with JB and Cat. Once he draws up, like also too, man. There's a problem with like you're saying, CP. There's when we play against teams with like defensive jumbo wings, they can't. They once they put him on those wings on Brunson, he can't attack the paint. Mikal, man, like put him in the trunk, bro. Put Mikal in the trunk. I'm over, bro. He's getting blown by on screens. He's getting waxed on one-on-one coverage. I don't know, man. I think when you look at these games, right? You see on defense, right? Cat is hedging on these picks. He's coming out a big, then he's got to go back, roll back a bit, and then try to cover the roll man. And if they miss, it's him trying to get the rebound. He can't do it all alone, you know?
Yeah.
So I think the one thing I want to say tonight, man, is like we're getting blown out by the Jazz, we're getting blown out by the Bulls, we're getting blown out by the Mavs. Why not just try to see if we can play a big with Cat, if even for just a couple minutes, right, and see what that produces? I don't know, man. Happy Thanksgiving, man.
Yeah, appreciate the call, man.